All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here today to discuss about Impact Wrestling Against All Odds 2021 pay-per-view. Well, it was an Impact Plus special, but I'm calling it a pay-per-view. The matches on this card was not too bad. I mean, it was decent overall. It wasn't a horrible show. It did have some matches I really didn't care about. And the ending of the show was fucking unbelievable what they did. Mind-boggling and crazy at the end with the main event between Kenny Omega and Moose for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. So, without a further ado, let's get into this entire card. I'll give you my stars. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Let's get to it. Street Fight, Tornado tag team match. Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer defeating the Good Brothers of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. The action in the ring was very good. A lot of good hardcore wrestling. It was, one of those typical Tommy Dreamer matches with Sami Callihan added to the mix and Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson just kind of being their opponents. And it was good stuff. I enjoyed the match for what it was. It wasn't nothing terrific. I mean, it wasn't one of those catch cam wrestling matches where, they did good technician wrestling or built to anything that was important. It was an average match, and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer win that matchup. The Good Brothers are not looking so good in Impact Wrestling. They look like lackeys to the Young Bucks when it comes to tag team wrestling among the elite at this point. At one point, the Good Brothers were top-notch tag team in Impact Wrestling and looking as one of the premier tag team in the elite faction. No longer. We had Joe Doring from Violent by Design representing the faction, going up against a New Japan wrestler by the name of Satoshi Kojima, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He had Eddie Kingston by his side. I'm not too familiar why Eddie Kingston was with this guy, but so be it. It was what it was. Match didn't go that long. The ending of the match was pretty good, but the majority of the match I could give 2 shits less about. Joe Doring wins this matchup by pinfall with his finishing maneuver with a tornado powerbomb. And he did a nice combination of maneuvers at the end leading to that tornado powerbomb that I thought was very nice. But overall, I'm only giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. That's pretty much it. This was not exactly one of the most entertaining matches. The next match after that was Petey Williams versus Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Raheet Raju in a fatal 5-way match with the Impact Wrestling Impact X Division Championship to determine the number 1 contender of that title. Excuse me, I apologize. This match led to a no contest, which I thought was really shitty. The in-ring work was very good. Trey Miguel looked like he was going to win this matchup. And out of nowhere, Madman Fulton came out of nowhere, cost the match for everyone in this match, even his own buddy, Ace Austin. And nobody is announced as the number 1 contender for the championship. That kind of sucks. I hope that they do like a tournament, possibly instead of a, 6-pack challenge. They may end up, I probably am talking out of my ass here, but I wouldn't be surprised they put the Elevation X, that one match where they have to climb the cables from upside down and then grab the championship off of there, or Destination X, or whatever they called it back in the day. I forgot the match, but it was always a multi-man matchup in the X Division, and they'd have a bunch of guys competing over it and trying to climb the actual cables to get to the middle part of the X so they could achieve either the championship or an X to be crowned as the number one contender for a championship in the X division. So, I mean, I'm not particularly interested in a multi-man X division match where they're climbing up to that cable and then trying to achieve the championship. I would be okay with it if it's a one-on-one match. That would be very interesting. I think they've had that plenty of times as well. I would prefer the one-on-one match. At least we get to see 100% pure just wrestling between two guys instead of people taking turns within the matchup to get their spot in. So that's just my preference on that. W. Morsley, formerly known as Big Cass, went up against Rich Swann in a decent matchup. He looked very dominating, yet he did have a little bit of issues during this match, and I forgot to give you guys the star rating on the X Division match. I'm giving that match a 2 out of 5 stars as well. That ending absolutely sucked. But W. Morsley and Rich Swann did a very good job here. Except for a botch by Morsley, he kicked him in the chest instead of in the head, which was the only botch I saw throughout this entire match. Overall, this match wasn't too bad. I actually enjoyed watching this, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 star. It was an average match. I would have given it a little bit higher of a rating, but Morsley kind of made a few mistakes here and there, and that's the only reason why I would make it a 3. I would make it a 3.5 if it wasn't for the botches that were involved in the match. But that sometimes happen with a guy his size. Other guys are better as big men than others, but it doesn't matter here or there. Tenille Dashwood and Jordynne Grace. This was a good match, but the ending was absolutely fucking stupid. Why is Jordynne Grace giving her partner, Rachel Erling, a hard time? I mean, Caleb with a K was actually interfering in the match, causing the referee's attention to be drawn away from the submission hold that she had in on Tenille Dashwood, and she yanked Caleb from the apron to get the referee's attention back in the match instead of what was going on outside the ring. So she tries to do this, and instead of holding on to the rear naked choke that Jordynne Grace had Tenille Dashwood in, while the referee would go back and referee the match to see if Tenille Dashwood would tap out or submit or even pass out for that matter, she let go of the hold and got mad at her partner. I don't know what they're going here with. They were former tag team champions. Apparently, they must have lost the tag team titles really quickly. I don't know why, nor do I care. It doesn't really matter. Women's tag team wrestling absolutely sucks in any brand. So I don't really particularly care for it in any wrestling promotion. But bottom line, this was fucking stupid as hell. The match was good, but the ending, again, shit. It was shit. But it was, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars because at least it had an ending, number one. Number two, this was a good wrestling match between these women. It's just the ending absolutely killed it. It really did. Fire and Flava, Kiera Hogan, and Tasha Steelz defeated Kimberly and Susan by pinfall. This was an okay match. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's nothing memorable, but there was nothing bad in the match that really would make me put it below a 3. I mean, my God, that's a little ridiculous. So it was an okay match. Then they had the men's tag team title match with Violent by Design with Diener and Rhino. Eric Young was there by ringside, going up against Decay with Black Taurus and Crazy Steve. This match was really good. I like this tag team matchup. This was a really good matchup between these two teams. Personally, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. being a little too generous. 3.5 out of 5 stars. So I think that was a good matchup. Some interference. I would have actually given it a better rating if there was no interference involved with Eric Young. But at the end of the day, it was a good matchup. And there's no discrediting that. But it's just the ending. Again, there was a couple of endings here that absolutely sucked. They kind of killed the show to me. But as wrestling goes, there wasn't any, significant bad wrestling overall. I mean, I wouldn't say it was that bad. It didn't get my interest so high up in wanting to care so much about these matches. Not to mention, I haven't been watching Impact for the last couple of months, which I'm going to start covering here on the channel soon. Starting next Monday, I will be covering Impact Wrestling for Thursday night, which will be the date of June 17th. So I will be covering that and go over that with you guys on next Monday's review. So that's when I'm going to cover Impact Wrestling on Mondays, since Monday Night Raw is absolute trash. So next match was Deonna Purrazzo going up against Rosemary in a really decent women's championship matchup. I haven't seen a women's championship match in Impact Wrestling that intrigued my interest like this in a long while. They did face each other a couple of months ago on another Impact Plus special. I didn't think that match was as good as this one. This one was actually better. They used a storyline injury to Rosemary during the match to really enhance the matchup and have Rosemary have to fight through an uphill battle that she was having a hard time trying to overcome. At the end of the day, though, Deonna Purrazzo retained her championship by submission, or by pinfall, excuse me. She hit a modified pile driver and won the match. I was thinking submission because she had her in a submission hold several different times and couldn't get her to tap out, but hit her finishing maneuver to finally get the pinfall. Then the main event. Oh, and this match, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, most definitely. It was a good matchup nonetheless. And there was no outside interference. Can you believe that? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next match was the main event, and that was the Impact World Championship with Kenny Omega versus Moose. Kenny Omega, I mean, I wouldn't think that, Kenny Omega would lose the title to Moose at a fucking Impact Plus special. If Kenny Omega is going to lose the world title, it's going to be on a pay-per-view, whether it's Slammiversary or Bound for Glory. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but the situation is that whoever won this match was going to move on to face Sami Callihan at Slammiversary on July 17th. These two guys, Kenny Omega and Sami Callihan, are going to compete at Slammiversary, which I look forward to seeing. I think that is going to be an excellent match. I'm not going to buy it on pay-per-view. I'll probably try to catch it online and view it that way. But yeah, this match was really good. The overall action was great. The screwjob ending was to be expected. I mean, come on, Kenny Omega, anytime he's been in a rough situation with anyone at this point, he's always cheated. That's all he's been doing lately, which I'm not particularly a fan of. When he was in New Japan Wrestling, yeah, he played a bad guy, but he would walk away victorious on his own without having to cheat. I mean, yeah, he'd bring the Young Bucks with him during a matchup to defend his championship against, like, Okada or something like that. And they'd be by his side, watching the match and cheering him on and so forth. And maybe slight distraction of the referee, but no physical interaction with the opponent that Kenny Omega was facing did they do. During this match, that took place. Moose actually accidentally hit the referee with the help of Kenny Omega grabbing the referee, putting him in harm's way, and then the Young Bucks coming down to the ring and hitting super kicks on Moose. By the way, this was actually taking place in AEW's home base of Daly's Place, which actually was a nice scenery, better than what Impact Wrestling's arena looks like without fans. They actually did have a few fans, but it was nothing major. I don't even think they were legit fans. I think they were enhancement talent or some group of people that they, it didn't look like they were selling tickets. Let's just put it that way. So overall, this match, I'm going to give it a 4.5. No, that's too much. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. This was a decent match. Not decent, it was a great match, but the ending sucked with the outside interference. Now, after the match, this was really good stuff. I enjoyed this very much. Sami Callihan automatically appeared, lights went out, and then Sami Callihan came out of nowhere with a baseball bat. He started hitting the Young Bucks in the head with it. His hand was covering the butt end of the bat. And he was hitting people with it, knocking them down. He also hit Kenny Omega, and he was about to take a chair. The same way he hit Eddie Edwards in the face by accident. That was not done on purpose back 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2018 when this took place. And he was about to do the exact same thing. And Don Callis said, no, you ain't doing this. You've gone far enough. You're not going to go ahead and do that. You're not going to take a baseball bat and hit Kenny Omega in the fucking face with it. That ain't going to happen. So he went on to say, look, I'm the executive vice president of this company of Impact Wrestling, and guess what? You're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're done. Forget it. And he fires him, and Scott D'Amore said, this is bullshit. Are you kidding me? So he's disappointed in what happened. He was mad about what happened to Moose. He started yelling at Don Callis as they were walking into the tunnel. And Sami Callihan, he looked at both of them. He says, this is fucking bullshit. I absolutely love that shit, man. Pure intense. I love Sami Callihan. If there's anybody in pro wrestling right now that can put out the most intensity of like an Ultimate Warrior or anything like that, or a Macho Man Randy Savage, he definitely delivers on that kind of level. The guy may not be the greatest in-ring wrestler. I'm not going to say he's a great wrestler. Okay, he's not a great wrestler. He's a decent wrestler and a fantastic hardcore wrestler. But the guy can provide such intensity. You see the look in his eyes. You just see something that's not right about the guy. I mean, he literally looks, or he's playing us very well and convincing us he's a fucking crazy maniac, but he's really not. He's just playing the part that he plays on TV of this character of Sami Callihan. And he's fucking great. I love what he provides with this character. It's just great stuff. And I hope, and I said this 2 years ago, he won the world championship from Brian Cage. He moved on and he lost a fucking title to Tessa Blanchard, and then Blanchard dropped the title because of the pandemic situation, and she wasn't really there anymore. So she refused to drop the title, so they just stripped her of it anyway. And that is what happened. And he hasn't gotten a shot for the world title since. This is the ultimate payback he could possibly get, facing one of the greatest performers in today's wrestling and beat him for the Impact World Championship. I really hope this. I hope we see Sami Callihan on AEW Dynamite this coming Friday. I really do. I think that would provide such great... You talk about how they say, oh, Don Callis showed up. He went ahead. He screwed Jon Moxley out of the title with Kenny Omega, and now they've got the AEW World Championship on Impact Wrestling. Imagine having and they also had the Good Brothers on there with them eventually at some point. Could you imagine this? Sami Callihan and AEW actually providing a storyline on AEW television for an Impact World Championship? Hell, you can even make them go after the AEW World title if you want to. I don't care. All I know is I would love to see Sami Callihan do something on Dynamite. I think he would do fucking great on there. Not to mention, the Dark Order definitely needs a strong leader at this point. After Brody Lee's passing, they have not done nothing since. Sami Callihan could provide that and then some of a leadership role in that faction. They would be so fucking badass and get back to the way they used to be before the unfortunate passing of Brody Lee. I'm dead serious. I think Sami Callihan, and I've actually stated this on this channel. I think I've stated this on this channel. If I haven't, I'm going to state it right now. Sami Callihan would be a great leader for the Dark Order. Okay? So, if I didn't say it before, I'm saying it now. I know I've said it to people I know, like my friend. But outside of that, I don't know if I've said it on this channel. I'm pretty sure I did. But if not, there you go. I said it. So, that's my outlook on this show. I thought it was a decent, okay show. Is it something you could go back and watch the entire thing and watch the entire pay-per-view? No, you're wasting your time. There's a couple of matches I would recommend. Kenny Omega and Moose for the World Championship. Deonna Purrazzo and Rosemary, the Tag Team Championship match with the men, and the street fight to kickstart the show. Outside of that, the rest of the show is a complete waste of everybody's fucking time. So it's 4 matches out of 9. That ain't that great of a show. That's a decent, okay show in my book. So 5 of the matches you could care less to watch. That's not a good overall number there. But it wasn't terrible. It was decent. I don't know if it was better than fucking NXT in your house. I don't know how people are perceiving that. I haven't looked at too many people's reviews on that. But my view on it, I already stated. I did not. It felt like most of the matches felt like they belonged on NXT television. They didn't feel like NXT TakeOver. Really, not at all. First off, they missed the fans. The fans are definitely a must-have for them on that show, especially for TakeOver shows. And the matches, I was reporting this hundreds of times on my NXT episodes. I kept telling you guys, they need to start building towards the future of these TakeOver shows and stop worrying about having pay-per-view-like matches on the television shows so they can get rating grabs, because that's all they're trying to do. But that's all I have to say at this time, guys. You know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment down below. And I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye.